Hi everyone, it's Caitlin from Really Big Plant. Thank you so much for joining me for this video.
Really big plant.
I just want to show you this almost perfect half moon leaf. I'm so excited about it, I can't even believe it. I literally was traveling and was visiting my family in Chicago, and my husband texted me a picture of this leaf that opened up while I was gone. So I've been giving my husband credit for this. I've been saying like, you did this. Because this leaf unfurled in his care, and it is the best, most pink leaf that has appeared on this plant since I first got it. Like when I first got this cutting, like more than a year and a half ago, it had like 2 leaves on it, and the 3rd or 4th leaf that it grew was actually a half moon, and that was really exciting. But it was kind of before I maybe got the care down for it, or maybe wasn't giving it bright enough light, but it lost that leaf relatively quickly. Just a couple videos ago, I showed a really lazy method for staking up this plant. Well, it wasn't just motivated by laziness, it also had to do with the fact that I didn't want to shove a pole into the root system of this plant, because I was actually planning on propagating it once it grew another leaf or 2. And actually in that video, the staking climbing plants video, this half moon leaf is the leaf that's like actively developing on the plant. So it popped out now, and I'm not gonna cut the plant up because it grew this half moon leaf and it's actually really big. It's like the biggest leaf on the plant so far. And I'm just so excited about it that I am going to pot it up into a slightly bigger pot, and I'm going to give it a real stake. I even put on a pink shirt that I think most closely matches the color of the pink on the leaf for this very special occasion, because I am really, really excited about this. So the Pink Princess Philodendron is actually a cultivated variety of the Philodendron erubescens, and I believe it was just a spontaneous sport, meaning that it just was a spontaneous mutation of a Philodendron erubescens. And the mutation produced these areas that do not have any chlorophyll, which are the pink areas that you see, and actually this mutation is a disadvantage for the plant because those areas, since they don't have chlorophyll and green color, don't produce energy for the plant. So they're kind of like dead weight. So the plant, as a result, actually wants to try to eliminate this mutation, which is why these plants tend to what is called revert. So this type of mutation actually occurs on the cellular level, not on the DNA level, which means that seeds from this plant won't necessarily produce more Pink Princess Philodendrons with this same type of pink mutation. It means that it needs to be propagated from specimens that already have this mutation on it. And on a normal plant, these areas of pink would appear white. It's sort of like the white variegation on an albo monstera, but the Philodendron erubescens has red like sap. And so the areas that would appear white actually appear this really beautiful pink. I've got this other pot here. So it's currently in a 6-inch pot, a nursery pot inside of the larger pot. Woo! Okay, and that's why I need to repot this plant and give it a bigger stake, because whoa, I just tried to kill it. Okay, so my heart, that was scary. All right, I need to repot this. So this is a little bit of a size up, but I don't really think that this plant needs to be repotted into a much bigger pot right now, which is why I just opted for one that's like a little bit deeper. Then I also have this pack of wood stakes. I think they're like 3 or 4 feet. Yeah, they're like 4 feet long. They all have like slightly different colored wood. I like this one, the second one, because it's like a little bit of a grayer tone. I don't know if you care about this, but I'm like, well, I have the choice. I might as well pick the one that I think is gonna complement the plant. So I'm gonna go for this one. I can already tell I'm going to get a splinter, or a whole bunch of splinters. I maybe should put gloves on. Ow. I literally already got a splinter. Okay, whatever, it's fine. Okay, so let me see. Ow! Hang on, I'm gonna go find some gloves. I'll be right back. Okay, I couldn't find any gloves. It's gonna be fine. I'll be fine. I'm tough. Okay, so I got this deeper pot. I've got my stake out. I'm gonna just get everything ready before I remove the Pink Princess Philodendron from the setup that it's currently in, because it's gonna fall over as soon as I take this whole setup apart. Since I showed you the repotting of this, or the staking up of this plant with this pole, I actually had to shove some paper towels in around the pole to try to support it, because once it grew these like next couple leaves, it got really top heavy and started pulling the pole over, which in my last video I said wasn't gonna happen, but it happened. So I've been using this container, which was once from some snack mix, for my soil mixtures. So I'm gonna just mix up a little bit more soil. So I've got some perlite. Don't breathe the dust, it's bad for you. I'm gonna go over here until this dust clears. Oh man, this bag of dirt is leaking from the bottom. Okay. Okay, so I think this should hopefully be enough soil. Hey, Rebecca. My husband just got back with some sushi, yay! He's just putting it away, so if you hear sounds in the background, I'm not gonna make him stop what he's doing. So anyway, I've got this pot here, and oh, I'm so excited to eat some sushi in a second, you guys. Okay, so I've got this pot, and now I've got these rocks, and I'm gonna put some rocks at the bottom of this pot. Not for drainage or for anything like that, but literally just as a little bit of a counterweight, because once I put this stake in, it's pretty tall and it's gonna make the plant a little bit more precarious if I don't put a little bit of extra weight at the bottom of the pot. This isn't always necessary, because sometimes the soil is sufficient and definitely can be heavy enough to hold down the stake, but I've never used one of these stakes before, and it's a little bit heavier than the type of bamboo pole that I normally use. So I just want to be safe, and I'm just going to put some rocks at the bottom of this pot. I'm going to just put it in this pot. I guess I'm gonna just take this out of here and see what happens when I lift it up. Okay, so I definitely can't let this go because it's gonna fall over. So I'm gonna turn it sideways because I'm repotting it anyway. So if you're getting confused, I'm confused too. Just kind of trying to decide what I do as I go along. Since I already knocked over this PPP, I'm gonna go ahead and just take it out of its pot and get it all ready to just be plopped into its new container. So let's see what we're working with down here. These roots are looking pretty good. I repotted it, I don't know, several months ago. I can't remember exactly when that was, but I did make a reel about it on my Instagram. And I actually transferred it from a terracotta pot or just a non-glazed clay pot that was very porous into a plastic pot because I noticed that I think I was underwatering it. And so I wanted to just give it a better chance into a more moisture retentive pot. So I'm going to continue to use a plastic pot and get my stake. I have to keep one hand on this stake for now. It's kind of just going to be like a balancing act, and I'm just going to have to try to be really careful. Actually, the stake is pretty much standing on its own. I mean, it's precarious, but look, ma, no hands. Okay, so I'm gonna put this in here now. Woo. Okay, and then I'm just grasping the plant and the stake with one hand. Okay, so at this point, my stake can stand on its own. I just need to add some more soil and then tie the plant to the pole. This plant was actually already pretty heavily facing one direction, and most of the leaves were growing facing on the same, like facing the same way, if that makes sense. So the back side of the plant doesn't have any leaves on it and is actually able to be just attached directly to the stake. And then I'm gonna take my, actually, see, I have these other pieces of twine here already from the last staking up. I'm just going to use these same pieces because I didn't have any pest issues or anything. Just tie this on here, hooray. Okay. Yay, okay. Okay, sorry you guys, I just noticed that my camera died. The B-roll footage died at some point during the repotting, so I hope that I got some footage in there, but if I couldn't show you, you know, the dirt going into the pot, I'm sorry about that. I just need to finish topping off this plant. Okay, so here is the repotted Pink Princess Philodendron. It's on this 4-foot stake now, so I feel pretty good about it because it's got some room to grow and I won't have to add another pole for a little while. A lot of people choose to use moss poles, which I think actually really does help plants grow more vigorously, you know, the ones that want to grow up. It gives them a really ideal environment to sink their aerial roots into and to have those aerial roots become more useful roots for each node of the plant and allow those roots to take up moisture and nutrition and supply each leaf with what it needs. However, in order for one of those moss poles to work in that way, you need to keep it moist, kind of like all the time. And I know that for me personally, that's just not something that I'm gonna be able to do in my plant collection. Like, I already have a hard enough time making sure that everyone gets water. People that do have really big moss pole gardens and are really dedicated to keeping their moss poles wet enough to keep their plants happy, I commend them because I feel like it's a whole nother step to keep a moss pole wet. And I know that there are self-watering systems, but in my experience with anything that self-waters, it tends to mold. And maybe other people in different parts of the country that don't have such a naturally just humid environment don't run into issues with molding as much. But when I look at a self-watering moss pole setup, it looks to me just like a recipe for mold. So I just know that I'm not going to be able to keep the moss poles wet, and if they're totally dried out, then it might as well just be a stick. So that's why I chose this. And actually, I normally use bamboo poles and they have a totally smooth surface. And I've noticed that the aerial roots of plants have no problem attaching themselves onto the smooth surface of a bamboo pole. So this pole, this unfinished piece of hardwood, has a much more textured and porous surface, and I'm pretty sure that this philodendron's roots are gonna have no problem attaching themselves onto this surface. I can put this whole contraption back in the cover pot, the cash po. So I'm gonna just plop it in here. It's wobbly in here because this cash po has a plug in the bottom and it makes everything a little bit uneven. So I might have to position it a little bit or use a different outer pot so that it's not so wobbly. But for now, it's in there. And yeah, I'm really glad, just sort of like mentally relieved to have this on this pole now, and I'm really excited to see how it grows, especially after it put out this half moon leaf. I kind of was under the impression that this plant might not ever put out another really pink leaf. So seeing this gives me like a lot of hope for this plant, because I kind of had this feeling that it was starting to revert. Like a lot of the other leaves have little tiny bits of pink on them, but when I first got the cutting, you know, I was getting some half moon leaves and I stopped getting those for like a year. And so I was kind of bummed, which is why I was considering chopping up this plant. But now that I have this half moon leaf, I can say with confidence that this plant has not reverted. So if you've got a Pink Princess Philodendron that hasn't been putting out any pink, but is still throwing out little tinges of pink here and there, I would say just, you know, keep your fingers crossed, because I really didn't expect for this to happen. So that could happen on your PPP too. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And for the people that have already subscribed to my channel and have been watching my videos and liking them, just want to say thank you so, so much. I would love to hear your thoughts on this plant, if you think it's like super overrated, or if it's the top of your wish list, or if you have one and love it. I would love to hear from you. I hope everybody has a really great week, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye. Okay, so I was literally going to go put these on under my shirt before filming. Their little nip covers. They're sticky on one side. There's a straight up fungus gnat stuck to one of these as if it's a sticky yellow trap. This is plant parenting.